We are now in the home stretch of this college football season, the season that began the last weekend of August. Here we are, the first weekend of November. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, General Manager at DeMarcoSports.com. I am 7-2 the past 9 Saturdays with my top complimentary play here on the video report. And today I'm going to be taking a look at the game between Michigan and Oregon at the Big House among a number of complimentary plays here for your Saturday college football card. Of course, over at DeMarcoSports.com, I am 7-1 the past 8 Saturdays with my best bet. That's my single strongest play, of course, on the entire college card. The plays you get here are my, shall we say, my second favorite play. And over there, I've got my Raise the Bar 20-dime burial blowout of the year. Now, as you know, for those of you that are newcomers perhaps here at the site, I rate my plays 5, 10, and 15 dimes. I like a very narrow margin rating system. I've never been enthralled with all these guys in this industry that have 10,000 star plays, 100,000 star plays. I like to keep it very tight so you know exactly how much I like a play. A 20 dime play is my second highest rated play. And with these plays, I am 16-7 in college and the NFL over the past 3 years combined. And today I have found a play on the daytime card where I think this team should win by 4 touchdowns. And just like every single one of these plays over the past 2+ seasons, it's the half price play of the day by using coupon code HALF. Last Saturday, it was Miami of Florida over Florida State. 2 Saturdays ago, of course, it was Missouri over Auburn. Both of those were nail biters. This one, I don't believe so. I think it's an easy 4 touchdown win and cover. And again, it's Raise the Bar 20 dime winner number 17 out of 24. And it's my second highest rated play. I apologize for being late today. I'll tell you, 9 times out of 10, leukemia doesn't stop me. I feel like I'm 22. This week, it has kicked my you know what. And I don't even know how I got to this point, even doing the report today, but let's get with it since I'm here. And you have to apologize for my voice too, because it's pretty shot, as it's been a very tough week. So let's get to your complimentary plays. And as I said, with the complimentary play here on the video report, 7-2. The last 9 days, last 9 Saturdays, that didn't stop somebody from writing in last week complaining that I lost my top play on Kansas State. Can't please all the freeloaders all the time. The top play is going to be Oregon minus the 14.5 over Michigan. Because what has Michigan shown you at all this season? Absolutely nothing. Multitude of quarterbacks. I don't know how a program, even though they had the coaching change, how this program could not recruit a 5-star quarterback, even a 4-star quarterback. Somebody could throw the damn ball. It just blows my mind. You look at Oregon season opener when they scored 24 points at home against, who was it, Idaho or Idaho State or somebody. Well, since then, the Ducks offense has been humming, averaging nearly 37 points over the past 7 games. Not as explosive this year with Dylan Gabriel at quarterback as they were a year ago with Bo Nix, but that's because they don't run the ball as well. But I don't think they have to be that explosive. What has really surprised me about this game is how the line has dropped from 16 at some books earlier in the week down to 14.5. But hey, I'll take the Ducks. I read it here that Dan Lanning is 11-0 straight up as a road chalk, 9-2 against the spread. The average winning margin, 26 points. And as a double-digit favorite, he's 7-1 against the spread on the road. Oregon beat Illinois last week, 38-9 at home. It was a game, they were a 22-point favorite. They were up 35 points in the first half before they took their foot off the gas pedal. And remember, just 2 weeks earlier, Illinois beat Michigan by 2 touchdowns at home, 21-7. Oregon also beat Michigan State 31-10 at home. It was another game which they cruised to an easy win. Now, last week, Michigan did beat Michigan State. However, in that game, the Spartans actually dominated on the stat sheet, outgaining The Wolverines 352 to 265. So my way of looking at it is the Wolverines were even fortunate to win that game. They're just not that good. They're a 500 team. So I'm more than willing to lay the double digits with Oregon, and that would be your top play today. Your second play is going to be Nebraska minus the 7 at home against UCLA. I was quite impressed with the way Nebraska, after getting their hats handed to them 2 weeks ago at home against Indiana, absolutely getting destroyed by the Hoosiers, gave Ohio State all the Buckeyes could handle in Columbus last week. Now they return home. They are on the cusp of becoming bowl eligible. What better time to do it than today at home against a UCLA team, which, granted, finally got a big win, a win period, their first ever in Big Ten play, by beating Rutgers last week. But then again, Rutgers, after the fast start, has been slumping ever since. And I think the key here is going to be Nebraska's defense. This is a team that is yielding 302 yards per game on average. And if you take out the fiasco against Indiana when they gave up 495 yards to the Hoosiers, that average comes down to 274 yards a game. UCLA is only averaging 17 points a game and under 300 yards total. And then you consider the offensive line problems that UCLA has had this season. They've been unable to give steady protection to their quarterback. They've allowed 20 sacks so far, almost 3 sacks a game. And Nebraska's pass rush has been darn good, except in the Indiana game, coming up with 22 sacks on the season. So I think this is a very good spot to get back on Matt Rule's team and let them get bowl eligible today in Lincoln. So Nebraska would be pick number 2. Pick number 3, I'm going to go with Baylor. I believe I went with Baylor last week, and I'm going to ride Baylor here again. In the last 2 weeks, Baylor has not only snapped an 8-game conference losing streak, but also has snapped an 8-game conference losing streak playing at home. So Baylor has a little momentum. And the key to Baylor's success here in the past couple of weeks has been the ground game. They have run for 255 and 343 yards their last 2 games. And you've got a TCU team that is coming in here that's giving up in Big 12 play 182 yards a game. A TCU team that, remember when they played Central Florida earlier this year? The Knights ran for 289 yards. Now, Baylor's suddenly 4-4 with 4 games to play. So maybe they can turn it around and make a bowl. At worst, they can save their coach's job, right? They've got at West Virginia and at Houston next. Then they're home against Kansas. I mean, potentially they could pick up a couple more wins here. Bottom line is their quarterback, Sawyer Robertson, is playing good ball here of late. And I like them in this spot. And when you think that TCU might be in a little bit of a letdown, because TCU in a back and forth game beat Texas Tech last week 35-34. I mean, yes, and they beat Utah the week before 13-7, but I don't put a lot into that game. But that Texas Tech game, they rallied from a 17-point deficit in the third quarter to come back and win that game. Now, this has been a one-sided series. I will admit Baylor is 1-8 in the last 9 matchups. But I think this is a great spot. I think the price is more than fair at -3. And I'm buying down the half point on Baylor in this particular spot. Another game that I think is very interesting is the Georgia-Florida game. Did you see the line move in this game? As of a couple days ago, it was Georgia 16.5 when I first handicapped the game, down to 14.5 this morning. This game, of course, is in Jacksonville, you know. I mean, last 2 years, Georgia, Kirby Smart against Billy Napier, no decision. I mean, it's been a KO each time. Georgia winning 42-20 and 43-20. You know, when Georgia is motivated, it seems like the Bulldogs play well, except that 13-12 win at Kentucky, except that first half against Alabama, which ultimately cost that game. But then you look at the Georgia team that showed up in Austin and played Texas. That was a damn good Georgia team. They're coming off a bye. They've dominated the series. They lost the first year when Kirby Smart was head coach against Florida. Since then, they've won 6 in a row against the Gators. 5 of those wins by double digits, all by at least 19-point margins. You know, I just don't see any reason to back Florida in this particular spot. So I'm going to go with Georgia here. Granted, it could be a possible look ahead game, right? They've got Ole Miss next in Oxford, then they host Tennessee. But when does Georgia overlook Florida? It just doesn't happen. That's not the history of this particular series. And then finally, your last play is going to be Vanderbilt plus 7.5 at Auburn. Now, I know Auburn snapped the 4-game losing streak by rallying from a 10-0 first half deficit to win at Kentucky last week, but everybody's beating Kentucky, right? And you look at Vanderbilt again, so close, playing so well, coming back for the backdoor cover against Texas last week in the 27-24 loss. This Commodores team is not intimidated. And the guy who's least intimidated is their quarterback, Diego Pavia. Jesus. Diego Pavia, who remembered last year as a member of New Mexico State, and half the coaching staff and I think half the team is now playing for Vandy, went into the Plains and upset Auburn 31-10 as a 26-point underdog. This Auburn team has, of course, already lost to California, Arkansas, and Oklahoma at home. So there's no track record for Hugh Freeze's team. And this is a Vanderbilt team that hung tough with Texas, went to Mizzou, hung tough, only lost by 3, won at Kentucky. Yeah, they won at Kentucky, right? And they beat Bama at home. They're not going to be scared. I think this could be a 3-point game one way or another. So why not take Vanderbilt in this spot? I've got other stuff to tell you. I'm going to recap these plays here. Just a quick reminder, you will see it here at the bottom of the page. 2 things. You can get my best bet today and all the plays of all the handicappers for free using the 2-day free all access pass. If you've never made a purchase before over at DeMarcosports.com, it's a great way to get all the plays for free. Today it's $109 normal price. You pick the days. It could be today, tomorrow, today, Monday, your choice. It's a great way to find out how each handicapper rates his plays, the analysis they provide. I can't sell you on the word free any more than telling you it is free with no strings attached. So check it out, the 2-day free all access pass over at DeMarcosports.com. The other thing is, if you like the video, you can always hit the like button and you can hit the subscribe now button in case you want to be alerted to when I do these video reports, which some days I'm not sure if I want to do these video reports. You can always subscribe now down there in the corner. So first, let me recap the plays here as I gave them to you. And then I have some other interesting little tidbits that I came across here today. So again, my number 1 play is going to be Oregon. Number 2 is going to be, I didn't write these down. This probably was a mistake the way I feel right now. Number 2 is going to be Nebraska. And by the way, if I make a mistake here, tough luck. Number 3, that's how bad of a day it's been. Number 3 was going to be, I think I said Baylor, right? Listen, after you get by number 1, they're all pretty much the same, to be honest with you. Number 3 is going to be Baylor. Number 4 was going to be Georgia, and then number 5 was going to be Vanderbilt. So again, let's do this in order if I can remember even from 5 seconds ago. Number 1 is going to be Oregon. Number 2 was going to be Nebraska. Number 3 was going to be Baylor. Number 4 was going to be Georgia. And number 5 was going to be Vanderbilt. Just blame the leukemia. That's all I got to tell you. A couple of other games I handicapped. I looked at SMU and Pittsburgh. Both of the quarterbacks who had been in doubt earlier and questionable earlier in this week are going to play. I lean a little toward SMU minus the 7.5 points in that game, playing at home. But I don't know. As the week went on, I got a little more scared about that game. I think SMU is a great teaser possibility, taking them down a 6 or 7 point teaser to practically minus 1.5 or near pick'em in that spot. I think the over in that game is likely as well, although I do question Pitt's ability maybe to put some points on the board here. But again, I do like SMU in that particular contest, so I was looking at that particular game. So that's another game that I'd handicapped that I just wanted to pass along. Another game that I handicapped was Tennessee against Kentucky. Tennessee is 7.5-point favorite at home against Kentucky. Remember when Kentucky knocked off Mississippi at the end of September? Everybody said, "Hey, Stoops had turned this program around. They were, climbing up in the SEC." What has happened since? This is a team that has just totally fallen to pieces. At home against Vandy, at Florida, home against Auburn. Last week against Auburn, they were up 10-0, and then they ended up losing 24-10. In those three consecutive losses, they have been outscored 92-43 since beating Ole Miss to end September. You've got a Tennessee team that is only allowing 13 points a game. Last week, Kentucky was outgained at home 498 to 224 by Auburn. And the Auburn running back, Hunter, ran for 278 yards last week. 278. Scary, right? Now you got to be able to contend with Dylan Sampson, who's run for 840 yards, averaging almost 6 yards a carry, and has scored 17 touchdowns for the Vols. Yeah, that's scary too. Oh, and this is scary too. Tennessee is an 18-1 series roll in Knoxville, and they've covered 28 of the last 38 meetings, including 14 of the last 18. So Tennessee, a big number, not an official free play, but I could see Tennessee. Maybe that's a potential teaser play as well, because I just don't see Kentucky with their inconsistent quarterback play getting enough points. What I have not liked about Tennessee, a team that I played earlier in the season quite frequently, is the fact it's almost like they've, with their quarterback, who I can't pronounce his last name, he paid me right now. It's almost like they've made him a game manager of late rather than letting him unleash his natural talent. And I don't understand. And I started noticing that trend in the game against, what was it, Oklahoma. I think I had a big play on Tennessee in that particular game. And I just don't understand that. The guy has the talent. You got to take the reins off of him and let him make the mistakes if he's going to, but it just seems to have stunted his development a little bit. So anyway, those are a couple other games I looked at. A couple of interesting also facts that I ran across that I thought I'd pass on to you. I cannot take credit for them. Matt Hayes of the USA Today Network posted them. The first one involves Penn State and Ohio State. He said that, Penn State 7-0. The good is the Lions are 7-0 since the first time since 2019. The bad, the combined record of West Virginia, Bowling Green, Kent State, Illinois, UCLA, USC, and Wisconsin, 25-30. You want my opinion on this game? We used to have a handicapper at the site, Ronnie Big Game James. A nickname that did not fit his handicapping prowess because he rarely won any games, let alone big games. Well, Big Game James Franklin is the same thing. When has James Franklin won a big game? Of course, we could say almost the same thing about Ryan Day, can't we? Doesn't win many big games for Ohio State. Damned if I know who's going to win the game. Couldn't tell you. Interesting game, though, and I think if you ask 10 people, you get 5 different opinions from each side. Iowa State is 7-0 as well. First time the Cyclones have started the season 7-0 since 1938. The combined records of the teams they've played, 29-27. Scary. Indiana, a team that, I've just made lots of money for you and myself here this season, 7-0. I'm sorry, Indiana, yes, I'm sorry, 7-0 or 8-0? God, I can't even remember. Bottom line is the combined record of Indiana's opponents, 26-37. Pittsburgh playing tonight at SMU. Panthers off to a 7-0 start, first time since 1982. The record of their opponents, 25-31. 25-31. Clemson playing Louisville tonight. 6-1. They've won 6 in a row since that week 1 blowout loss to Georgia. And the combined record of their victims, 19-29. So there you go. Just a couple of tips to pass on to you. Guys, I wish you well, and hopefully I'll be around tomorrow to do your Sunday NFL report. Good luck, everybody.